All right. So remember in the last video, I said that next up for the Middle-earth strategy battle game would be some good guys. Well, over the weekend I put together 24 Rohirrim from the Battle of Edoras box set. And so today, let's figure out how the heck we're gonna paint them. Alright, boring priming is done. And now, welcome to another riveting edition of Jared has no idea what he's actually doing. Rohan, these Rohirrim, they come from greenish kind of fields, right? So I'm thinking the darkness as a base color, again. It's kind of getting old at this point, but it's this nice, deep green-blue color. So it should work nicely as shadows for fields, I hope. And then maybe for that zenithal, we go with a midnight olive. A nice, rich olive green that I can make more vibrant by adding yellow. Alright, now that it comes time to doing the actual brushwork, really starting to notice just how much detail and filigree exists on some of these models. A drastic change from the most likely hand-sculpted Uruk-hai that I've painted previously. Regardless though, these are beautiful sculpts, but I think I'm going to try to paint the absolute bare minimum that I can on them. And I think when it comes down to them actually popping on the tabletop, I think it comes down to three things. The green cloaks, the shields, and the face. And so if I can make those kind of stand out, then the rest of it can just kind of drift into the background. And even better yet, a lot of the faces don't really exist. It's all just facial hair and helmet. Which should cut down on the overall painting time. But first, let's do the hands and whatever faces exist. And so I think I'll start with good old Pro Acryl tan flesh, and then mix in some ice yellow to brighten it up. These are tiny areas, and I'm aiming to do this pretty quick, so it'll be like maximum 3 layers. I'm really thinking that all of these areas with all the detail and the leather and things that I don't think I need to paint because they're not necessarily important when there's a bunch of them on the table, I think I'm just gonna purely wash them. No other layers of paint, just wash. So there'll be a few other areas that I'm gonna knock out right now that will get that same wash color over top. Heavy metal for all of the silvery bits. Emperor gold for the gold centers of each shield. And then sunburst ochre for the arrow feathers. And with everything painted that's going to get a wash over it, now to slap grimdark shadow over all of those areas. Hopefully that grimdark shadow adds some more definition to those areas so that they don't entirely look unpainted. But now for the cloaks, which is really the highlight of all of these dudes, and I think what your eye will be most attracted to on each model, specifically or particularly when they're on the tabletop in a game. So I'm going to take the Midnight Olive that was the Zenithal spray on these dudes, mix in more and more of this moonbeam yellow to create a nice, vibrant, scratchy cloak. Alright, now I've got 24 of these nerds all painted, which is cool, but now I need to do the basing and really needs to be quick and crappy. Kind of the tagline for this channel, really. But I think I'm just going to do a quick dry brush of this Brigade Gray, some sort of wash, and then a couple of tufts. Nice, quick, easy, and hammer through them pretty quick. That is 24 Warriors of Rohan, or Rohirrim, ready for battle. We've talked about it a lot on our podcast, Some Assembly Required, about removing any barrier for someone to play a game with you. And since I am super Lord of the Rings, Middle-earth strategy battle game pilled, I want to remove any barrier for someone to play the game with me. And we're almost there. Need a couple of heroes for this force, and then I've got 2 armies ready for battle. And while they've both been painted pretty quickly, I don't know, I think they look pretty good, but let me know what you think in the comments below. Most importantly though, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in another video. Probably.